Hello, my name is Michael, and I obsess. I come across something that grabs me and I consume until I can't take anymore, and then I'm on to the next. Some obsessions last a week, others a lifetime. It is my intention to explore these obsessions with you as they occur while the passion is hot. Welcome to Eclectic Obsessions. In the 1970s and 80s, Saturday morning cartoons were interspersed by animated educational interstitials and P.S.A.s. These were hammered into our heads week after week to the point of madness, the end result of which was that I've never forgotten them. We will be exploring Saturday morning public service announcements on this episode of Eclectic Obsessions. Time for Timer. Time for Timer is a title for a short series of public service announcements broadcast on Saturday mornings on the ABC television network starting in the early 1970s. The animated spots featured Timer, a tiny cartoon character who represents the sense of time in the human body. Timer is in charge of when a person felt it was time to eat, time to sleep, etc. He carries a large pocket watch inside of him, which would often set off an alarm whenever something was about to happen. Usually wearing a bow tie and top hat, Timer looks somewhat like a little yellow blob with long arms and legs and a face. Timer also has limited magical powers, such as instant transportation, which he often uses to exit his host body from time to time if things got too exhausting. A wisecracker as well as a song and dance man, Timer promotes healthy eating and personal hygiene for children using clever songs and animation. Like ABC's The Bod Squad series, the segments never carried official titles, but are referred to by memorable catchphrases in the song's lyrics. Perhaps most memorable was I Hanker for a Hunk of Cheese, in which Timer, recast as a cowboy with a thick western accent, suggests wagon wheels sandwiches made with cheese slices and crackers as an easy and nutritious snack. When Timer prepares one on a kitchen counter, he rolls it down the counter on its edge and tells us, "Look, a wagon wheel." Others included You Are What You Eat, a simplified explanation of nutrients and how the body uses them. Quickie breakfast, leftovers and other pre-made foods as an alternative for kids who do not have time or are unable to cook breakfast. And Sunshine on a Stick, how to make ice pops with fruit juice and ice tray and toothpicks. Time for Timer ran concurrently and interchangeably for many years with ABC's other educational spots, primarily the Bod Squad and Schoolhouse Rock. They generally appeared between cartoon programs on the hour and half-hour marks interspersed with regular commercials.
Bang, bang, bang! Oh, howdy, partner. Time for Timer. Do you ever get that hungry feeling after school? Boy, I do. I'm so hungry, I could eat a wagon wheel. When I'm slow on the draw and I need something to chaw, I hanker for a hunk of cheese. When my 10-gallon hat's a feeling 5 gallons flat, I got something planned, which is little cheese sandwiches. Come on! Here's a great little snack to tide you over till dinner. If you want something delicious and nutritious, cheese is a super snack. Look, a wagon wheel. When my get up and go has got up and went, I hanker for a hunk of cheese. When I'm dancing, I hold down and my boots kind of slow down, or anytime I'm weak in the knees. I hanker for a hunk of, a slab or slice of chunk of, a snacker is a winner, and yet won't spoil my dinner. I hanker for a hunk of cheese. Yahoo!
The Bod Squad. The Bod Squad was the collective title for a series of short public service announcements broadcast on Saturday mornings on the ABC television network from 1974 through the first half of the 1990s. These 30-second and 1-minute segments promoted healthy nutrition and personal hygiene through humorous animation and catchy music with clever lyrics. The segments generally appeared at half-hour intervals, interspersed with regular commercials between Saturday morning cartoon programs. While many were not labeled as such, at least 4 or 5 segments ended with an announcement, another nutritional message from the ABC television network, and accompanying stock animation identifying the series as the ABC Bod Squad. The same original segments produced in the 1970s repeated every Saturday morning for nearly 20 years, so that many, if not most Americans who were TV-watching children during that period are familiar with them. The Bod Squad segments never carried official titles, but are informally known by the catchphrases from their lyrics. Some of the memorable Bod Squad segments included Yuck Mouth.
They call me Yuck Mouth, 'cause I don't brush. Oh, I like my teeth like this. They call me Yuck Mouth. No, I won't brush. How's about a little kiss? I got roast beef in my teeth, got some chicken too. Ouch, that's a cavity. Hey, that's new. Well, if you don't brush your teeth, then kids you too can be a yuck mouth.
Don't be a yuck mouth. Another nutritional message from the ABC television network.
Quick Fast.
Dash for the door, race to school. Maybe so, but you're no fool. Make a quick fast. It's a breakfast. Only fast, fast. Yeah, quick fast. A piece of toast and one of these. Some peanut butter or special cheese. Milk or juice to wash it down. It's a fast, fast, quick, fastest breakfast in town. Quick fast.
No time for breakfast? Have a quick fast. Another nutritional message from the ABC television network.
Watch out for the munchies.
When you're feeling bored or blue, watch out for the munchies. They find ways of making you munch when you're not hungry. Here, munch this.
Here, munch that.
Soon you're not just bored, you're fat. Go on out, find stuff to do. Get munching off your mind. Soon you'll see you're feeling great with the munchies left behind. Watch out for the munchies. Another nutritional message from the ABC television network.
Nutty Gritty.
Nutty gritty, nutty gritty. It's a snack you can munch. Nutty gritty, nutty gritty. A healthy snack you can crunch. You take a bunch of nuts, any kind will do. Throw in a bunch of raisins too. Then invite a bunch of nuts to share with you your nutty gritty, nutty gritty.
Do something good for your bod and brush your teeth after snacks. Join the Bod Squad. Join the Bod Squad.
Some others not explicitly identified as Bod Squad segments, but in the same vein were Don't Drown Your Food.
I'm Louis, the lifeguard, and happy to say I rescued a drowning potato today. They drowned in its sour cream. Oh, what a shame, 'cause food's so much better when it's practically plain. So don't drown your food in mayo, salt, ketchup, or goo. Yuck! It's no fun to eat what you can't even see. So don't drown your food.
Make a Saturday.
If Monday's bad or Tuesday's sad, make a Saturday.
That's a Sunday.
Wednesday rains or Thursday's gray, make a Saturday.
Looks like a Sunday.
Instead of have a banana and a pineapple ring, add yogurt creamy smooth. Pop a grape on top and that's a Saturday for you. Make a weekend treat any day of the week. Make a Saturday.
Now that's a Saturday.
Beans and Rice.
Beans and rice, beans and rice. Mama even serves us sometimes twice. But silly as he seems, beans will give you your protein. My good buddy rice is an energy vibe. Put us together as a team. We've got a flavor that's supreme. Beans and rice, once or twice or even thrice. Beans and rice is nice.
Zach of all trades.
Don't pout, check it out. Zach's gonna show you what work's about.
It's the blob, it's the blob.
I am the future blob.
Without a job, without a job.
I am the future blob.
What can I do?
No need to panic, no need to get scared. You can make the future by being prepared. Ask what do I like to do? What jobs are suited to me?
I like to skate. I like to go bowling. But my favorite hobby is cutting and sewing.
You can get going, plan a business sewing. It's your job, your future job. There are many jobs you can train for. Seamstress tailor, costume designer, alterations, pattern maker.
I am the blob, the future blob.
It's no blob when you plan for a job. Don't be afraid, make a career and get paid. Do your job, plan for a future. don't need no future blob.
One to Grow On. One to Grow On is an educational public service announcement that broadcast during NBC's Saturday morning lineup from 1983 to 1989 when the network ran cartoons. The name is taken from the custom of putting an extra candle on a birthday cake as One to Grow On. One to Grow On focused on ethical and personal safety dilemmas and attempts to teach viewers how to solve them. The P.S.A. appeared immediately after the end credits of an NBC cartoon, such as ABC did with Schoolhouse Rock and CBS with In the News. The segments were hosted by the stars of NBC primetime series, including Michael J. Fox, Michael Gross, and Justine Bateman from Family Ties, Mr. T and Dwight Schultz from the A-Team, Soleil Moon Frye from Punky Brewster, David Hasselhoff from Knight Rider, Kim Fields, Nancy McKeon, Lisa Welchel, and Charlotte Ray from The Facts of Life, Richard Mole from Night Court, Malcolm Jamal Warner and Tempest Bledsoe from The Cosby Show, Perry King and Tom Bray from Riptide, Joel Higgins and Rick Schroeder from Silver Spoons, Kadeem Hardison from A Different World, Jackée Harry from 227, Estelle Getty and Betty White from The Golden Girls, and Michael Landon from Highway to Heaven. Although many of the celebrities featured were from sitcoms or shows that kids were familiar with, Renee Enrique from the adult-oriented primetime show Hill Street Blues also hosted a segment, specifically on how children should not be watching his TV show since it was broadcast too late, past a typical child's bedtime on a school night. Another special move was when pro athlete Ozzie Smith hosted a segment which revolved around the issue of usage of snuff, where Smith explained in his segment that he is not a user of snuff and it has nothing to do at all with baseball playing ability or the image of the big leagues. A few segments featured a young Jaleel White as one of the child actors. The P.S.A.s begin with an animated sequence that leads into an animated TV on which an actor appears. After the actor introduces himself or herself, which until 1986 was followed by a 30-second commercial, a live-action sequence appears in which the child faces an ethical dilemma. One to Grow On cuts back to the actor, who explains to the viewer how to solve the problem. The child then either has to own up to the consequences of the action or make an effort to rectify the situation. The actor ends the segment by saying, "And that's One to Grow On." One to Grow On was replaced by The More You Know in September of 1989.
Hi, I'm Mr. T, and I'll be right back in One to Grow On.
Strike three, you're out!
No, I'm not!
You're crazy, that was strike three. That's it, Kaplooey, you're gone!
I deserve another pitch!
Yeah, like you deserve another brain.
I mean, I take my stuff and going home!
Someone's acting like a chump. Who said just because you brought the ball that you get to make the call? Even Mr. T doesn't call all the shots. When you're part of a team, and I know something about teams, you got to work together. Sports should be fun and having a good time and learn to play together. That's it. You know, if you take the ball and leave, you're ruining everyone's fun, including your own. It's that simple.
Hey, Jimmy, aren't you going to take the other base, too?
I would if I could carry him off.
Then why not leave it and play the game? You'll get another turn at that.
Okay, but I still think I didn't strike out.
And that's One to Grow On.
The More You Know. The More You Know is a series of public service announcements broadcast on the NBC family of channels in the United States and other locations featuring educational messages. These PSAs are broadcast occasionally during NBC's network programming. The spots feature personalities from various NBC shows, as well as other notable figures such as U.S. presidents. Tom Brokaw was the first person to do a The More You Know spot. It aired on NBC in September 1989, succeeding the One to Grow On PSAs that were used from 1983 on. A senior executive at NBC, Dr. Rosalind Weinman, developed the campaign and wrote most of the on-air PSAs after putting an advisory council together. She ran the campaign for 10 years. The More You Know program won a Peabody Award in 1993 for serving as a model national public service campaign to provide a range of useful information to its vast television audience. The campaign has featured a range of guests over the years, including Amy Poehler, Joan Rivers, Jack McBrayer, Steve Harvey, Angelica Houston, Questlove, and Jimmy Fallon. Several past U.S. presidents have also participated in the campaign, including Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, and Barack Obama, who encouraged parents to be more involved in their children's education, while First Lady Michelle Obama worked to promote the prevention of childhood obesity.
Yeah, start in for a second. I just wanted to rap to you. Now, in your life, you're going to realize there's only one thing that separates you from other human beings. You know, somebody might be as tall as you, or they might look like you, their hair might be the same color, but your mind will separate you. So what I want to encourage you to do is stay in school, you know, make it grow, make it work, make it better, because the more you know, the further you'll go. I'm out of here.
The following are additional PSAs which I could not find any information for. Dr. Henry's Emergency Lessons for People.
Somewhere out there, someone needs Dr. Henry's Emergency Lessons for People. After a 20-year engagement to Chester Wedding Bells Hockmeyer, Ima Klutz has finally brought him home to meet the family.
More cream of turkey gizzard soup. Ima, let's... Yes? Yes.
Dr. Henry!
Keep calm. Now see what kind of burn it is. Fortunately, Chester has a first-degree burn, the mildest. It's red and painful. A second degree would show wetness, blisters, and swelling. Soak these burns in cold water to cool the skin. Then apply a sterile bandage, loosely, so it won't stick to blisters but will keep out dirt. For the second degree or worse burns, where the skin is damaged, see a doctor fast.
Ima, let's...
Yes, Chester?
Let's go out for dessert.
Coming soon, Rock Bottoms says...
Slow down and chew your food.
Hey, man, what's the rush? Slow down, don't gulp, enjoy the taste. You can add pounds from all that haste. Don't swallow whole, please chew each bite. Well-chewed food will digest right. Chew, 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 that's it. Nice and easy. Chew, 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 chew. Slow food.
The Chopper.
They're doing push-ups in Peoria. They're jogging in L.A. They're exercising everything in lots of crazy ways. But take it from the chopper. Hey, the chopper, yeah, that's me. If you want to have great choppers, exercise your teeth.
Exercise those choppers, really chew, chew, chew. Exercise those choppers on some good hard food. Your molars grind,
your canines tear,
incisors bite right through. So exercise those choppers on some good hard food.
Pumpernickel,
carrot sticks,
crunchy fruits and nuts. Things you really have to chew will make your choppers tough. So take it from the chopper, 'cause choppers know it's true.
Exercise is great, but exercise your choppers too. Hey, chopper, how about running a few laps with us?
Hey, later, man. I'm eating a celery stick. This is hard exercise.
Captain O.G. Reedmore.
Captain O.G. Reedmore here. If they send a mouse to outer space where Hawaii's getting snow, if a Martian lands on Thompson Street, you'll be the first to know. If you read the daily papers and your favorite magazine, you'll be out in front and in the know on all the latest scenes. You can tell your friends. You heard it first. And you'll hold the latest views. So read the paper and some magazines, 'cause reading is what's news.
The Potatoes.
What's got eyes and skin that's brown and grows underground? Groundhog. Nope. What's got vitamin C like a fruit, even though it's just a root? Turnip. I'm talking about potatoes. You gotta dig potatoes. With protein, starch, and minerals all built in. Boiled, steamed, or baked. They're a cinch for mom to make. So when you want some, just say, hey, mom, give me some skin. You got to eat the skin. It's so good for you.
Donuts.
Out they go to spend their dough without their common sense. They're the dough nuts. Stanley Slush was always rushed. He had no time to waste. He never thought before he bought. He simply bought in haste. So when he needed camping gear, he gave this speedy rundown.
A flashlight, sleeping bag, and tent, and make it fast, because I intend to make it there by sundown.
The salesman did his very best to demonstrate the goods, but Stanley shouted, "Wrap 'em up! I'll try 'em in the woods!" So when he got to Mount Magoo and picked his camping site, he couldn't figure out the tent. The zipper on the bag was bent, and batteries had not been sent with Stanley Slush's light. As Stanley sat beneath a rock and watched the rain begin, the moral of this story at last was clear to him. Take time to test the things you buy before you leave the store. Know what's included, what to do. Make sure it isn't broken, too. Because, my friend, unless you do, it doesn't rain, it pours.
Water.
When you get up to get a drink, you really ought to stop and think about the way to quench your heavy thirst. The refrigerator is loaded, but before you grab a soda, why not try a big wet glass of water first? Oh, water is a drink that you can trust. No one's ever lost use from us. So try to drink this glassy. Sit down between your classes when you're thirsty. Reach for water. You know you really ought to. It's the best no-calorie drink in all the world.
Popcorn.
Well, I met her at the movies, and I sat her in my lap, and now I'm so in love with her, I feel just like a sap. Popcorn, she's my favorite movie star. Popcorn, she's my favorite snack by far.
I like her best unbuttered with just a dash of salt, 'cause she doesn't load me down with calories.
Well, if you ask me to describe her, I say she's packed with fiber. Popcorn, she's my favorite movie star.
The Metric Marvels.
The Metric Marvels, Meter Man, Liter Leader, Super Celsius, and Wonder Crab. Metric superheroes, fighting to stamp out metric ignorance and introduce the system that rules the world.
Computer Critters.
Computers are coming your way.
Computers? For paying bills?
Mothers, too.
Bah, humbug.
Wow. Let me try it.
Hacker, I thought joysticks are only for computer games.
A computer can get input through a joystick to write music or draw pictures, as well as play games.
Totally awesome.
But there are lots of other ways to tell computers what to do.
Like the mouse?
Right. It's an input device. The mouse is an easier way to move the cursor. You can use it to make pictures in some graphic programs, or move words around if you're using a word processor.
Neato.
Some computers have special screens that are sensitive to your touch. Choose an item from the list and touch your choice. The computer serves up what you ordered.
Is that why they call the list a menu?
Sharp thinking, Tabby. The keyboard is the most often used input device, but there are lots of others, even the light pen. It lets you draw on the screen and add color.
Wow, that's pretty.
We're the computer generation. See you soon.
I haven't watched Saturday morning television in years, and I've heard tell that the cartoon block is a thing of the past. I assume then that without the audience, this style of public service announcement has gone the way of their cartoon hosts. I see this as a shame on several levels, but of course I am biased, as I have been obsessed with them for years. Thank you for listening to Eclectic Obsessions. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe on iTunes. Leave me a review. All 5-star reviews will be read on the show. You can follow the show on Facebook at Eclectic Obsessions, on Twitter at Eclectic Obsess1, on Instagram at Eclectic Obsessions Podcast, and on YouTube at Eclectic Obsessions. I'd love to hear what you think. Feel free to email the show at ecobpod@gmail.com. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new Eclectic Obsession.